Wait a minute, where's my background? All I see is my green screen. That's weird. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so welcome to Red True Crime. This is your host, Rebecca. And take a moment to thank everybody for the support and for all the views. And we're going to get into a series I like to call The Wrongfully Accused. I'm going to have examples of cases where the people were accused but it didn't go anywhere. We have cases where they were accused, they went through court proceedings and were exonerated. And we're gonna have cases where people were not exonerated, they went to prison, but then later on were exonerated. And then we're gonna have some where it's just vigilante justice and people were killed over false accusations. And these are gonna be notable cases. Most people have heard most of these that I'm gonna come across. But the first one I'm going to talk about is the Duke LaCrosse rape hoax. Now, putting the word hoax on the end of it is probably not the nicest thing one can do, but and however, it is what it is. It is a rape hoax, as we found out. So let's get into it. So on March 13th, 2006, a stripper says she was gang raped by three rich white lacrosse players at Duke University. Media explodes. The DA screams guilty. The school cancels the season. But here's the twist that nobody expected. It never happened. This is the Duke LaCrosse case, the biggest false accusation scandal in modern American history. So buckle up. You're about to see how one lie almost sent three innocent kids to prison forever. So, the party, March 13th, 2006, 610 North Buchanan Boulevard, off campus house. 40 Duke lacrosse players, spring break vibes. Co captains David Evans and Dan Flannery decide to hire strippers. So, let me start there. Strippers are almost never a good idea. Just saying, you know. Um, but that's what they did. They call an escort service. Two women show up. Crystal Magnum, 27, NCCU student, which is North Carolina Central University, single mom, dancer, and Kim Roberts, the driver. 11:30 p.m. The girls arrive, and it goes south very, very fast. Someone allegedly yells the N word. Roberts drags Magnum out. At 12:03 a.m., Roberts calls 911. They called us names. We left. But note, there is no mention of any type of sexual assault. So that is at 12:03 a.m. 2:30 a.m. March 14th. They're at the hospital. So, actually, I'm sorry, not 2:30 a.m. 12:53 a.m. Magnum's found passed out in Robert's car at a Kroger. Kroger being a national, well, a big food chain or food grocery store chain. If in case you don't have any in your area. Cops take her to a mental health intake center, then Duke Hospital. First question: were you sexually assaulted? She says no. Crystal Magnum does. Then the nurse asks again. Magnum mumbles, yeah, kinda. Red flag number one. She's high on meth and muscle relaxers, per her own toxicology report. So let me give you an idea of who we're talking about. This is Crystal Magnum. So over the next 48 hours, Magnum tells six different versions. Okay. Six different stories. Three guys raped me, four guys, then two guys. No penetration, maybe just fingers. I'm not sure. She can't name anyone, can't describe the house, but Durham DA, Mike Nafong, smells blood. And that is this guy right here, Mike Nafong. So, enter Mike Nafong, the villain. Nafong's in a very tight re-election in a majority black district. He takes the case personally, unheard of for a DA. March 27th, he goes on TV. I'm convinced a rape occurred. These are hooligans. He does 70 interviews in 2 weeks, calls the players a bunch of racists. He hasn't even seen the evidence. Talk about putting the cart before the horse. April 4th, police showed Magnum two photo lineups. Lineup number one, she IDs three guys with 100% certainty. Lineup two, only lacrosse players, no fillers. She picks Reed Seligman, Colin Finnerty, and David Evans. And on, Reed Seligman, she said 100%, that's him. Colin Finnerty, she said 100%. And David Evans looks like one of them. These are the three boys she picked out right here. And this is illegal. Lineups must have non-suspects, but Nafong charges them anyway. Because again, when they do a lineup, they try to mix in who the suspect is with people who look similar to him but have not committed the crime, that are not involved. Sometimes they'll even use officers who look similar to the suspect. This is how they try to get a genuine identification because people could just be pointing at people and they don't. You shouldn't be doing that. All right, so they've done that. She's just picked 3 random guys. 2, she says with 100% certainty, 1 maybe. And then the DA is like, "Ooh, red flag, touchdown, let's do this." So April 10th, DNA results come back. 0 LaCrosse player DNA on Magnum anywhere. But 4 unknown males in the rape kit. So she did have intercourse with 4 other people, but none of them were the lacrosse players that she pointed out. Nafong meets with lab director Brian Meehan. They agree to bury the full report. Nafong tells the court, no DNA evidence. He's lying. Let's look at this guy again. That dude right there. Now, Reed Seligman's alibi. Let's get back to these boys. 12:14 a.m. he calls a taxi. 12:19 a.m. ATM photo. He's at an ATM. A photo shows him 2 miles away. 12:24 a.m. Dorm swipe card. He was gone before the alleged rape window. Colin Finnerty. Cell pings in another town. David Evans. Timestamp photos show him cleaning up after the girls left. And the bonus. Magnum's own photos show bruises before she even arrived. Now, this is when we start getting into the nitty gritty. CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, all in. Nancy Grace. They're guilty, lock them up. She's big to throw stones at people. 88 Duke professors sign an ad. We believe the victim. Protesters chant, castrate outside the house. The players go into hiding, which I don't blame them. And then on December 22nd, Nafong drops the rape charges, keeps sexual assault. Why? The DNA lie is leaking. December 28th, a North Carolina bar charges Nafong with 27 ethics violations. 27. On January 13th, he recuses himself. The North Carolina Attorney General Roy Cooper takes over, who was our most recent governor. Now we've got Josh Stein. On April 11th, 2007, Cooper drops all the charges. His words: "We found no credible evidence an assault occurred. These young men are innocent." First time an AG uses the word innocent in a dismissal. And now we get into Nafong's downfall. June 2007, Nafong is disbarred. First DA in North Carolina history. He admits he hid the DNA, lied to the court, inflamed racial tensions, and he spends 1 day in jail for contempt, bankrupt by lawsuits. Now, with all this going down, these 3 guys have been accused of horrible crime, ran through like you wouldn't believe. Everybody in the media is saying castrate them, jail them, all these things. They're being portrayed as complete monsters, and you've got a DA that was looking to bring them down. And you're wondering, okay, with all this, he was lying, these kids were innocent. What about the victim? What about Crystal? What's her story? Good thing you asked. Crystal Magnum. This is what has happened to her since her lie. Well, in 2010, she set her house on fire with 5 kids inside. 2011, she admits the Duke rape was a lie on national TV. 2013, she stabs her boyfriend to death and is convicted of second-degree murder, serving 14 to 18 years. So she is due to be out very soon. And overall, the fallout. Who paid for all this? Who was stuck holding the bag for this? So Duke paid the players tens of millions of dollars, estimated $18 million each for the 3 players. Coach Mike Pressler was fired and got $1 million plus. The lacrosse season was canceled, and the 88 professors at Duke never apologized. And Nancy Grace, she's still on TV, as we're all well aware. And you're going to ask, why does this matter? It matters a lot because this wasn't just a lie. It was prosecutorial abuse, media malpractice, and racial weapons and weaponization. I can talk today. 3 kids lost a year of their lives. 1 DA lost everything, and a woman's false claim destroyed trust in real victims. It's stories like this when we have women who have the story or have the tale of sexual abuse, domestic violence, and they're afraid to go to the authorities. People are quick to not believe them because there is no proof. Like myself, my marriage was very destructive and very abusive. I never went to the police about my husband, never, because I didn't want to deal with the shame of admitting that to somebody else. People were like, "Oh, really?" Yeah, that's the truth. I did not want to deal with that. And this is something people have to understand. Sometimes victims don't always come forward. So when you see statistics about domestic violence, sexual assault, they're probably higher than what they are because not everything gets reported. But yes, because of the prosecutorial abuse, it's harder now to prosecute cases that are valid. And because of women like Crystal Magnum, victims are it's very hard for victims to be believed because everyone questions everything, as well as they should. But it's hard for a victim to come forward, a legit victim, because they may not be believed. So here are the things we can take from this, the lessons and reforms from this case. North Carolina passed the open discovery law in 2007. DAs must share all evidence. Duke now teaches this case in its ethics classes, and the damage is irreversible. So here's where everybody is now. Reed Seligman, he now works on Wall Street. Colin Finnerty transferred and rebuilt his life. David Evans sued Duke and won. Those 3 survived. But the system, it failed. Never forget, one lie can ruin lives, but the truth, it always comes out. So what do you think? Should Nafong have gone to prison? I think so. I really do. Because he went out of his way to prosecute these kids when he knew he did not have evidence proving guilt. And drop your hot takes in the comments, and like if you want more false accusation cases, and subscribe and hit the bell. And next week, well, you'll have to see what I bring out next time. But this is Red True Crime. Stay skeptical, stay safe, and as I always say, be weird, be rude, be safe. Peace, everybody. Have a good night.